What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over my top 10 must-buy Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5 RPGs in 2023. I think these are going to be surefire hits that are going to make the fans extremely happy with the gameplay, graphics, and more. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off at number 10, we have Stellar Blade on the PlayStation 5. This is coming out sometime in 2023, and this game looks absolutely awesome. Now, I'm not completely sold on everything this game has to offer, but it's a must-buy because I'm so curious in terms of what they're going to do that I have to buy the game to find out, and then I can let you guys know if it's going to be good or not. Now, Sony has taken over as the publisher of this game, so I think that they're going to give them more time and budget to make sure that everything goes right with this title. I found out more with researching what this game is about. You can get different type of experience points and use it to level up your abilities. I think that this is going to be a solid action RPG game out there, although it's classified as just an action game by some people and an RPG as others. So I think it's close enough that we're going to go ahead and call it an action RPG, but I think that the gameplay is going to be very good at the end of the day. I don't think it's going to end up being a bust. So to me, Stellar Blade is one of those games that I'm really much looking forward to, and I think that it's going to be a great game in 2023 for RPG fans and action game fans out there as well. Next up at number 9 is The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. Now, I'm making sure that I can say the title correct. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong, but this game is coming out on July 7, 2023 to a host of different platforms: PlayStation 4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, PC. It's on quite a bit of things, and what makes this really cool in terms of this game is the fact that they have the really dope storyline of 3 separate protagonists, and then you're kind of going through in terms of what each of these protagonists do. Now, the RPG mechanics in this game are as solid as ever. The Legend of Heroes has always been fantastic in this. You can just get lost in the different mechanics and systems, but I think that it's easy enough and they ease you in enough for it to be extremely fun. I think that some of the new super effects and different abilities that you're going to have in this game are really going to be a ton of fun. The super moves are great in the Legend of Heroes series, and Trails into Reverie seems like it's going to take it to the next level of what they're doing, but it's how they integrate everything with the story and also the gameplay that makes the Legend of Heroes must-play titles. And especially with this one, they've improved the graphics. The music sounds awesome from what I've heard from the Japanese voice track, and everything just sounds like it's going to be really good in this game and solid when it comes out next year in 2023. So I can't wait to get my hands on the game. Next up at number 8 is Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. It's coming out on February 24th, 2023, and this is going to be an incredible experience for Atelier Ryza fans as it's the conclusion to her story. And I think that with each entry, Atelier Ryza has gotten better and better, not only when it comes to graphics, but also gameplay, mechanics, systems, worlds. Atelier Ryza 3 looks like it's going to do an incredible job of making sure that not only do they have great gameplay and alchemist stuff, but they also really kind of fine-tune the world. What they've shown off so far in terms of exploration has been fantastic, and they each have their own biomes and really cool areas that they're showing off. Atelier Ryza 3 takes things to the next level. I think that they've gotten a really good budget behind this game, and I feel that it's going to be solid when it comes to players just being able to play and check out the gameplay. The thing that I've been most impressed about is absolutely the gameplay, though. Some of the stuff that they've shown off looks super high quality, really nice animations, really good stuff here from Atelier Ryza, which you really wouldn't see from an Atelier game. This game by far definitely probably is their biggest budget and probably the most effort they've put into an Atelier game so far, building off the success of Atelier Ryza 1 and 2. So I think that this game is going to be absolutely amazing and give Ryza the send-off that we think that she deserves. Next up at number 7 is a game that's been delayed for forever, and that is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink for the PS4, PS5, and I think also PC as well, but I know I'm picking up the PS5 version of the game. Now, this game was actually in development from Platinum Games for a number of years, but they ended up going off of the project and then they ended up just developing it in-house when it comes to side games. So that's cool too, because they can build the game the way they want to build it. But what they've shown so far over all of these years in the long troubled development is a really cool looking action RPG. The graphics are completely on point. I think that they look really good. The gameplay mechanics look solid as well. I love how everything animates. I think that one of the cool things about action RPGs in terms of you can tell like the quality of it is the animation of it. How cool are the animations and what do they do with the systems and mechanics to make sure that those animations look, feel, and are great. I think that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink has everything set up to be a fantastic RPG, and I've just been waiting for this RPG for so many years at this point, and I think they pretty much had to rebuild it when it comes to certain things based off of what Platinum Games did and their vision and what was going on here. So I think at the end of the day, what they've shown so far is more than good enough to get me hyped up, at least for the 7th spot here. And when the game finally does come out, I think that Side Games is going to show us a masterpiece. I think this game is going to be incredible. So we'll have to wait and see. But right now, I'm anticipating it highly. So that's the reason why it makes it to number 7 on my list. Number 6, Sea of Stars. One of the few independent games when it comes to my top 10 list here. But Sea of Stars is no joke. This game is coming out summer 2023. I think that the spiritual gameplay visual type of successor to Chrono Trigger is finally here. And I love the fact that they gave us a summer 2023. This game was supposed to come out in 2022, got delayed, but I think that it's good. It's good that they took some more time because I think that this game is going to do so many cool things within the RPG space. What they're trying to do is almost like a Chained Echoes type of path, right? You've got a simplistic RPG when it comes to the old school 16-bit era, but then you layer on levels of depth, and that's what Sea of Stars does. It has fast battles. You get right in and out of them. It's got a really cool leveling system as well. It's got music from Yasunori Mitsuda too. I mean, this guy is one of the GOATs when it comes to composition of music out there, especially for video games. So Yasunori Mitsuda on the case, so you know you're going to have complete bangers and great music. And the combat, once again, is taken after all of those great RPGs from yesteryear, the Final Fantasy VIs of the world, the Chrono Triggers of the world, Secret of Mana, and they're kind of combining it into a brand new fusion of fantastic modern edge gameplay, but with the old school 16-bit look. So that is a match made in heaven, in my opinion. And I feel that this game is going to be phenomenal when it finally drops on the Nintendo Switch and also PlayStation in summer of 2023. Next up at number 5 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'll be completely honest with this one, guys. Like, this definitely could be a 2024 release. They did say that it's winter the following year, so winter does extend into 2024, but I have to have it on here because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth looks absolutely incredible, and I've played through Crisis Core, and that game is freaking awesome, and it reminded me of how awesome this game is going to be because the gameplay is going to be even better than what we saw from Final Fantasy VII Remake and also from Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. So I think that they're really going to take all of that experience and what they've done and turn it into this game. But I think the biggest thing for me with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth not only is going to be the story and kind of what happens with the connections of the titles, but also the gameplay and the structure. To me, structure is super important because Final Fantasy VII Remake was fantastic. I love the gameplay, but some of the structure stuff with the loading screens and some of the structure with what characters you gain and lose at certain times and just like the closed off nature of it was a bit restricting. I think that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to give you a bit more freedom in terms of side quests and objectives and hub areas and places to go and what you can do. And obviously it's going to load a lot faster, not going to have the same design decisions that Final Fantasy VII Remake had because it was on PlayStation 4 as well. So I feel that this is going to be a rebirth, for lack of a better term, in terms of what they're doing with the Final Fantasy VII Remake brand and the storyline. I cannot wait for this game. It's going to be awesome. But once again, I will say that it might not make it in 2023. But since it was dated for winter, it does give it a chance from December-ish onward to be a 2023 title. But still, I had to talk about it. Haven't spoke about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth much on the channel, and I wanted to, and this game looks hype. So yes, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth makes it to number 5 on my list, and it probably would have been higher if it was actually set in stone, at least with the release date for 2023. Next up at number 4 is Octopath Traveler 2. This game is launching on February 24th, 2023, and it's looking absolutely incredible. Everything that they've shown so far has been a big improvement over Octopath Traveler 1 and a big improvement even over other Bravely Default games, or at least the originator of that combat system. Now, Octopath Traveler is more of a light version of Bravely Default, but they've added in a number of things that I really like. I love the whole day-night stuff to where you can have certain actions and things that you can do, whether it's day or night, based on who you're using. And I also love the new travel paths that they've got here and the intertwined stories. These are all things that's going to make for a more cohesive experience, but also a better gameplay experience because they're tuning up what you can do with the leveling system in the game, with different classes that you can use, how you get experience. Everything has been fine-tuned for a better experience that, to me, this could make it a 90+ rated RPG on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and PC. I think that it's going to be fantastic when it comes to Octopath Traveler 2. I think what they're going to have to nail, though, is how they balance what the turn-based RPG mechanics is with the random encounters, because they did not get rid of those. So how frequent are those? Do they have potions or spells or stuff that you can do to fine-tune that so it doesn't feel cumbersome? Because a lot of RPGs, even the big turn-based ones, have went away from the random encounters, and it looks like Octopath Traveler 2 still has that. And that's like my only well, we'll have to wait and see about that. But overall, I'm still very confident in the game, even if it does have that in, considering what they've shown off. And let's just talk about that HD 2D engine. Goodness gracious, it looks absolutely incredible as well. They fine-tuned and increased that to perfection. So I love what they're doing across the board with Octopath Traveler 2. So that's exactly why it's made it to number 4 on my list. Number 3, Final Fantasy 16, and we have to have some more Final Fantasy love on this, and the reason why I have Final Fantasy 16 here is because it's a brand new major Final Fantasy game with brand new characters on a brand new system with the PlayStation 5, and they're really taking advantage and harnessing the power of that PlayStation 5, and they're doing a combat system that is Final Fantasy in terms of RPG and leveling and atmosphere mixed with Devil May Cry. The guy who did Devil May Cry 5, he's like one of the producers on this game in terms of combat or whatever the case is. So that is absolutely incredible, and it's something that I just have to play. Now remember, these are must buys. Doesn't mean that it's going to be the best games when it comes to ratings or I'm going to like it the most. I just feel that these are the must buy games across PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, the big games that people are going to be talking about and are going to end up being what everyone is buying at the end of the day, and what I'm also really anticipated and looking forward to as well when it comes to must buy big titles. So Final Fantasy 16 fits the bill, and I know that there's some people that are upset a little bit when it comes to no turn-based RPG, and I can completely understand that. But at the end of the day, this summer, June 22nd, 2023, Final Fantasy 16 is going to be the talk of what people are discussing in that summer. Now, you still have other games that are going to be coming out, and it's going to be awesome and everything, but Final Fantasy 16 has that command. The graphics, the story, the gameplay, everything is just gelling and looking absolutely phenomenal so far. Might not be everyone's cup of tea when it comes to Final Fantasy and what they expect, but at the end of the day, it's going to command that respect with what they're showing off, because there isn't another Japanese RPG in terms of this point when it comes to traditional ones that's doing what this does on the newest system. So I think it's going to be pretty crazy overall. I'm just looking forward to going on that ride, because I've had fun with Final Fantasy games in the most recent years. FF7 Remake was absolutely awesome. I had some fun with Final Fantasy 15. So I think that this is going to blow away those experiences from what I've seen so far. This could be a lot better. So very much looking forward to it, and that's why it's number 3 on my list. Next up at number 2 is Fire Emblem Engage, coming out on January 20th, 2023, and this is classic Fire Emblem but evolved. We have so many cool new elements that they've shown off, and I think that one of the reasons why Fire Emblem Engage is so high up on the list is because I know so much more about this game in terms of what I love from Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem Awakening is one of my favorite games of all time, easy a top 10 game for me. And what they've done here is take so many of the dope aspects when it comes to what Fire Emblem Awakening did, and so many of the cool things that I loved about Fire Emblem Heroes, but without the gotcha and without some of the lame stuff in those games, and they've combined it into one with a brand new story, brand new characters, brand new area, and a whole new coat of paint, making this probably the best looking Fire Emblem game ever made. Definitely an upgrade over Fire Emblem Three Houses. So this is something to be very excited about for Fire Emblem fans, and I feel that the singular story path in terms of what they're doing will bring back the focus on what Fire Emblem is about, but then also add in new things. Like they've taken some of the cool stuff from Fire Emblem Three Houses with a hub area, but then adding in other events that you can do, like having push-ups and having mock battle games and stuff that you can share with your friends and not. It's a very in-depth Fire Emblem game, and I think that it's going to be one of the better ones as well when you factor in everything with the nostalgia with some of the characters, then also the story too. I think there's going to be some crazy twists and turns, so I'm very much looking forward to Fire Emblem Engage, and it's engaged its way all the way up to number 2 on my list. And number 1, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I guess I should hold a poll on my channel whether this is an RPG or not. When I'm looking up research material for RPGs in 2023 and what I'm looking forward to, or even on Nintendo's own site, they're like, oh yeah, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's an RPG, right? Like, it's so funny. People think adventure game, action adventure, adventure action, whatever the case is. Let's just call it an adventure RPG for right now, just for the sake of this video. But yes, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is my most anticipated game for 2023, and It's by a pretty good margin. And the reason why it is because it's the Legend of Zelda follow-up to Breath of the Wild. Like, it's the Legend of Zelda follow-up. Breath of the Wild is one of the most influential and one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely a top 3 game for me. So Tears of the Kingdom naturally is going to be right up there for me. And even with the little they've shown, I've talked about how awesome what they've shown with Fire Emblem Engage and maybe even Final Fantasy 16 to a degree, but they haven't shown much when it comes to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I don't really need to see much because they're going to take everything based on the time that they've taken to develop this game. They're going to take everything that made the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild amazing, and they're building that, and then on top of it, you have whole huge sky worlds. You have a huge stone airplane thing you can fly on. You have huge different new of the Sheikah Slate abilities that you have. You have all different types of things, and Link is looking crazy from his long hair and the outfit to what he had on before to the room that he was going out of. There's so many different aspects that we just don't know. I just feel that the story in this game combined with the new gameplay elements is just going to take this game to the next level. They didn't want to bring out just any game. They wanted to bring out a game that truly surpassed what the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did from every single aspect. All the shortcomings could be fixed, like with dungeons and other things. And I feel that you needed to take that 5-6 years in order for that to be done to the scale that they did and not have the game break on you multiple times over with bugs and glitches. So I feel that they've taken their time. They've gotten the content. The game has been rated. It's coming out May 12th. There is no delays. It's ready to go, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. So I cannot wait to play The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in mid next year or so, springish or so. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to my top 10 most anticipated Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5 RPGs, must-buys out there? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.